I'm Ryan.
And I'm Kim.
And we're with P&W Insurance Group. And our question of the week this week,
Yes.
Kim, is what does home insurance actually cover?
Well, yeah, so there's really 6 main items on a homeowner's policy. There are some other added features depending on the carrier that you choose, but the 6 main ones are, we're going to go over those today. First one is dwelling. So we cover the dwelling, not the land, but the structure. So if there's a catastrophic loss like a fire, windstorm, for example, that's going to be covered under the homeowner's policy, your structure.
Exactly. So the next line item is usually going to be other structures, or some companies call it detached structures. And that's just like it sounds. Anything that's not attached to the house. So it could be a detached garage, or it could be a fence or a dock if you're on a lake, anything like that that's not attached. It's going to have its own separate line item for coverage there.
Right, that's usually like 10% of the dwelling amount. So there's a certain percentages that they have on each of these line items.
So if your dwelling, if the dwelling coverage is $300,000, you probably have $30,000 automatically for detached structures. So if you have a larger detached structure, you definitely want to pay attention and make sure there's enough coverage on your homeowner's policy, because you can increase that if you want to.
And the same goes with personal property. So personal property is usually between 50 and 70% of the dwelling amount. So personal property is all the belongings that you own. Let's say there was like a fire and you lost everything in that fire. We're going to replace those things with new, your personal belongings.
Yeah, minus motor vehicles, so any type of cars or ATVs, dirt bikes, anything like that. So those have their own policies.
Right.
So the fourth main coverage on there is loss of use, and that's what pays out if something happens. Say there's a fire at your house and now you've got to move out and you can't live in the house for a while they're repairing it. They actually pay to move you out, pay the rent on another house for you, and then pay to move you back in once the work is done. And that way you don't have to both pay rent and mortgage at the same time. So it's
Which
huge.
is a really nice feature. Yeah,
exactly.
Really
and
nice.
Typically you see they'll cover about 20% of the dwelling limit. So again, if you have a $300,000 dwelling limit, you'll have about $60,000 in loss of use coverage on there automatically. So.
Right, correct. The fifth line item is personal liability coverage, actually. And how that works is it's for legal fees or medical bills that you need if you caused an injury, caused some personal property damage. And on a homeowner's policy, you choose the coverage. You either want 100,000 of coverage or up to 500,000 of coverage. So the client gets to have an opportunity to choose what they want.
Get the 500,000.
Yes,
that makes the most sense.
That's what we always quote.
You'd be surprised how many lawsuits come from a simple slip and fall on a sidewalk or dog bites. Those are probably 2 of the most common. But that's liability coverage is there to protect you in case you're getting sued by somebody for something that happened on your property or even off your property.
Even off, yes, correct.
So, and then the last line item you usually see is medical payments. And that you're going to usually see a smaller amount, maybe $5,000 up to $10,000. And that's kind of like, I would say that's a precursor to the liability coverage. So if you happen to have somebody over that slips and falls and hurts themselves, for example, and they're a friend and they really don't want to sue you, but they've got some doctor's bills that they want to get taken care of, the insurance company will just pay that out under the medical payments coverage so that no lawyers have to get involved, and that solves the issue there. So
yes, we've seen that happen. So now there's a couple things that you need to be aware of that are not covered on a homeowner's policy that we always make aware to our clients. And one of them is earthquake. So earthquake coverage is not on a basic homeowner's policy. You'd have to add that as an endorsement, or we have actually insurance carriers that specifically write earthquake policies. So you can definitely get that coverage for that peace of mind, or you don't have it. So so that's
exactly.
And what's the other one, Ryan?
So the other main one is flood, right? And so flood is considered any groundwater that comes from outside your house through the ground to inside of your house. So it's not meaning if a pipe bursts or something like that, then you're not covered. Yes, you are covered if something happens like that inside your house, or if something happens to your roof and water comes in through your roof. That's not considered a flood, that's water damage. But a flood is any groundwater that comes in. So if you live in a lower area near a river or something like that, or an area that you see high water often, it might, make sense to get, a separate flood insurance policy for that.
Yeah, and we could certainly run those proposals for you
Mm-hmm.
in our agency. So that was our question of the week. Thanks for joining us. See ya.